One of the biggest battles in the state of Kentucky is about to take center stage. Before we get to the battle, we have to go back in time to see all of the events between the inauguration of the new Confederate governor, Richard Hawes, on October 4th, 1862, to the death of General William Bull Nelson, to the choosing of Perryville for the battleground. The battle for Perryville is also called the Battle of Chaplin Hills and the Battle for Kentucky, and it will decide if Bragg continues to stay in Kentucky or will slink back into the state of Tennessee and make his way back to Chattanooga. All aboard the Kentucky-Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up this time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine for our flight back in time, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger vehicle to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. We need to go back to go forward. We will pick up with General Carlos Buell and his slow march towards Chattanooga. The reason for the slow march was that Buell was having his men to repair the railroad lines in the state of Tennessee. This had to be abandoned, as Bragg was now moving into other parts of Tennessee. Turning his army from Chattanooga, Buell decided to concentrate his men around the city of Nashville. But he was too late to stop General Bragg and General Smith, and now they were causing chaos in Kentucky. Buell got word of this, and on September 7th, 1862, he immediately marched his men to protect the Union cities of Louisville and Cincinnati. The race, it seems, to the city of Louisville was now on. Along the way to Louisville, Bragg got bogged down in the Battle of Munfordville. It took far longer than Bragg had anticipated. With the time lost, Bragg had to make a decision to either make a run for Louisville and engage Buell, or to join with Smith's army. By this time, Smith had gained control over much of the center cities of the state. Smith had won the battles of Richmond and captured Lexington. He was also threatening Cincinnati with the troops headed by General Heth. Bragg made the decision that it would be a stronger force if he joined with General Smith and his men. When Buell reached the city of Louisville, he immediately set to work. His first duties were to gather, reorganize, and reinforce his army with thousands of new recruits. On September 29, 1862, General Buell received orders from Washington relieving him of command. He was to be replaced by Major General George H. Thomas, who refused these orders, and this left Buell in command. Where we are so far. General Heth was making his way back to the regiment of General Edmund Kirby Smith. General Duke has just fought the battles of Snow Pond, Augusta, and Brooksville. General Smith and Bragg are now heading back to their respective regiments after leaving Frankfort under a barrage of enemy shells. On October 1st, Buell's army, along with Thomas as his second officer in command, left Louisville. This force of 55,000 troops was not so well trusted by Thomas. He would describe them as being, quote, yet undisciplined, unprovided with suitable artillery, and in every way unfit for active operations against a disciplined foe, unquote. Buell had divided his troops into 3 divisions, heading towards Bardstown on 3 separate roads, and had another division that he sent elsewhere on a mission. Bragg wanted the final fighting between himself and Carlos Buell to take place in Versailles. But this was not to be. He joined with Smith at the inauguration of the new Confederate governor, Richard Hawes, on October 4th, 1862. Bragg had left his army under the command of Confederate Major General Leonidas Polk. But the 2 generals hastily left the area when shells were being lobbed at the festivities. It seems that Buell had ordered Brigadier General Joshua W. Seal to take 20,000 men to Frankfort to keep the 2 Confederate armies from joining forces. The death of Major General William Bull Nelson. Now, as a side note, this one goes into the Weirdo-Rama files of the Civil War. Most likely due to exhaustion, Brigadier General Jefferson C. Davis requested and received leave to recuperate from an illness in the late summer months of 1862. He returned to duty on September 20th. When he reported back to Nelson, he was ordered to prepare the citizens for the defense of Louisville by taking charge of the organization and arming of the men. Just 2 days later, on September 22nd, Nelson called Davis in for questioning about the condition of the troops and the defenses. Receiving only short answers, told Nelson that Davis did not now know the condition of those that he had under his charge. Nelson became enraged. Nelson accused Davis of lackadaisical behavior and dismissed him from his command and threw Davis out of the city because Nelson felt that Davis was ineffective to defend Louisville, Kentucky. Davis left Louisville and went to Cincinnati to report to General Wright. In the meantime, Buell returned to Louisville and took command over from Nelson. Hearing this, General Wright sent Davis back to Louisville. Davis arrived in Louisville on September 28th and reported to Nelson on September 29th, 1862. The unjust dismissal, according to Davis, led to a confrontation with Nelson. To add insult to injury, Nelson backhanded Davis. Getting a gun from Thomas W. Gibson, Davis followed Nelson into his office and shot and killed him. Nelson did not shoot back. Davis was never charged or sent to prison over the shooting. Prelude to battle. When Buell had divided up his 3 divisions heading towards Bardstown, they were as follows according to the Wikipedia Battle of Perryville website. The 1st Corps, commanded by Major General Alexander M. McCook, marched on the left along the Mackville Road. His 13,000 men consisted of the 3rd Division under Brigadier General Lovell H. Rousseau and the 10th Division under Brigadier General James S. Jackson. The 2nd Corps, commanded by Major General Thomas L. Crittenden, marched on the right along the Lebanon Road. His 20,000 men were divided into 3 divisions, the 4th commanded by Brigadier General William Soy Smith, the 5th, Brigadier General Horatio P. Van Cleve, and the 6th, Brigadier General Thomas J. Wood. The 3rd Corps, commanded by Major General Charles Champion Gilbert, took the center along the Springfield Pike. Just a few weeks earlier, Gilbert had been a captain, but was elevated to acting Major General and Corps Commander following the death by murder of the previous commander, Major General William Bull Nelson. Gilbert's 22,000 men were also in 3 divisions. 1st, under Brigadier General Alban F. Schoaf. 9th, Brigadier General Robert B. Mitchell. And the 11th, Brigadier General Philip H. Sheridan. Unquote. The area of Perryville. Union Major General William J. Hardee went beyond the orders of General Bragg and had moved his troops forward to the city of Perryville. This area was selected for many reasons. Those reasons being, the town had approximately 300 residents. The roads were well networked in 6 different directions that led to nearby towns, and they were in excellent condition. This was a huge plus for strategic flexibility. The location of Perryville was perfect to prevent the Union troops from reaching the Confederate supply depot in Bryantsville. And lastly, the town had water. The weather patterns of 1862 had been very odd. Even though it had been a very wet winter and spring that year, and the eruption of Mount Dubai in East Africa in May 1861 caused normal weather patterns to change. These changes of patterns led to a very dry summer and fall months in Kentucky. The high temps during the day and the lack of rainwater in the evenings had rivers and streams to dry up. This lack of water caused hardship on the soldiers and horses. But as attractive as the area was, Hardee's troops were not safe. Evidently, Because of the route that the Union Third Corps was taking, it threatened the troops who were at Perryville and Harrodsburg, Kentucky. Immediately, Hardee called for help from Bragg to defend the area. The stage is now set for the Battle of Perryville to begin. In next week's video, we will take a look at the battle itself and how it would affect the future for the Confederate Heartland Offensive. Thank you. We at Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the Appalachian Civil War battles. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification button. Please be sure to double check that you are subscribed, as some of our viewers are finding that they are no longer subscribed to our channel. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.